Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
And it's 8 o'clock on Friday. Every Friday at 8, we do Case's movie reviews and a real doozy, a real special one today.
For Christ's sake, tomorrow's the 4th of July, and we will be open for business.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?
Utah. Give me 2.
Do you enjoy pain?
Pain don't hurt.
Wax on, right hand. Wax off, left hand.
Now fry like bacon, you little freshman piggies! Fry! Fry!
Playing football at West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life.
Well, today is the 30th anniversary of Tommy Boy. It was released 1995 with a budget of $20 million. The box office did $32.7 million. Not a big box office, but became a cult film, of course. And here in Chicago, with, of course, our beloved Chris Farley, the numbers have to be even astronomical. Tommy Boy received mixed reviews from critics upon its release. Rotten Tomatoes gives the film a 39% approval rating based on 46 reviews with an average rating of 5.2 out of 10. Yeah, the reviews and the reception, which we'll get into a little later probably, were not great. But Kenzie, I think me and you would say that's all a bunch of BS, and those people are losers.
They are huge losers.
Big losers. Big L on the forehead.
Let's find out if Case is a loser.
Here we go. So, Case, I'm so jealous you got to see Tommy Boy for the first time. And in fact, Benny checked in from Buffalo Grove and said, I'm sitting at the edge of my seat. If Case doesn't give this a positive 8 out of 10 minimum score, I'm driving to the NBC Tower. And I can't read the rest because it's too many swear words.
I don't like that. Block him.
Benny, thanks for checking in from Buffalo Grove. We want you to stay in Buffalo Grove. Do not drive here. This is the honest review of someone 26 years old seeing a movie that came out before he was born. And I love it. Kenzie loves it. Let's see what Case thinks about Tommy Boy.
And let's start with the trailer.
Let's start, with, as we always do, with the trailer from 1995. Here it is.
Education laid the foundation.
I got a D+!
Heredity opened the door.
Oh!
And dedication took it from there.
Oh!
Do we really want to put the future of the company in Tommy's hands?
Paramount Pictures presents...
It's a clip-on. Are you sure?
Chris Farley.
That's going to leave a mark.
David Spade.
Yikes.
Tommy Boy.
Did you live under power lines as a kid or something?
Rated PG-13.
Didn't use the "It's a in a world" guy. Very comical voice for that, and a lot of slapstick stuff with Chris Farley. Interesting because no one knew what the lines of the movie were going to be. The funniest parts, it was just him being Chris Farley going, "Ow, ow." That's going to leave a mark.
A little visual.
All right, Case. So, Tommy Boy, your review on the 30th anniversary of the movie. Go.
I feel bad that I have to do this.
Oh, you piece of garbage.
I don't like what I'm about to do. The thing with Tommy Boy is that I think this movie is one that you're supposed to watch for the first time as a blockbuster rental. You get the VHS tape and you watch it at 12 years old at a sleepover with your friends. I think that's the best way to enjoy this movie. I did not have that experience. I watched this movie for the first time at 26. And while Chris Farley is undeniably hilarious, we're not going to debate that. It's not the conversation. It's not the tone this review is going to take.
It already has a tone.
This movie doesn't make any sense. And I unfortunately am in the position where I have to watch a film like Tommy Boy with a critical eye. I have to come on here and I have to review this film like a journalist would. I have to watch it and critique it and hope to love it. And there are just so many things about this movie that don't make any sense, despite at times what is absolutely tremendous comedy. I have to watch this film with a critical eye, and it does not stand up to what I thought.
Critical eye?
Critical, Brian, I have to.
How does it not make sense? Are you stupid?
Well, I will not deny those allegations. It doesn't make any sense. What you're telling me is that Rob Lowe and Bo Derek, who I only knew because Jay-Z once referenced her in a song. I had to do a whole Google deep dive on Bo Derek yesterday. So they're married, but they're pretending to be mother and son. And their long con, their goal to reach financial stability in a way that you and I and everybody listening could never understand, they're going to be rich beyond their wildest dreams. Their long con is to marry into a Midwestern auto parts plant factory worker owner, let's say, and eventually hope that he dies so they can take over the company in a backdoor deal where they'll sell the company to Dan Aykroyd. I'm not buying it. Why is this the way that they're getting their wealth? This makes no sense.
Isn't Rob Lowe?
Yes.
Yes, it is Rob Lowe.
What? Sorry, I don't remember that.
No, Rob Lowe's definitely in it.
Pretty main character. Pretty good main character.
I remember his face.
Now, here's the thing. I don't want to pick you apart yet. By the way, Chris from Buffalo Grove just said, SMH, I'm on my way to the NBC Tower. A Critical Eye, that's for Schindler's List. This is Tommy Boy.
I understand that.
You were supposed to sit back and enjoy the ride of the best comedy duo possibly in movie history, delivering the best performance. David Spade and Chris Farley. Tell me another one that's better than that. In that movie of what they hit, their peak performance of any of the movies they were in after that or before it.
Here's the thing. They're funny in this movie. The problem is they don't have enough people to play off of because Chris Farley's dad, the little bit that he's in it, he's very funny, but, heart attack at the wedding, whole thing, he dies. Mm-hmm. Bo Derek.
Thanks, Kenzie. Got it.
Bo Derek, horrific actress. Can't hold her weight comedically, can't hold her weight in a dramatic scene. She is just an anchor in this movie. Absolutely horrific in this movie. Rob Lowe's not in it enough. Rob Lowe's in like 4 scenes. He's great.
I don't want to be this person, but I just looked up the cast of Tommy Boy, and Rob Lowe isn't listed.
No, Kenzie, he's definitely in the movie.
He's not even listed on Google Cast.
You know what? You know what? You're right. He's uncredited in this movie because he was filming another movie at the time, and I can't remember what it was. So he chose to be uncredited to not promote Tommy Boy on top of another movie.
That's wild.
But if you, Kenzie, do me a favor. Google image Rob Lowe, Tommy Boy. Okay. He's in the movie. He's only in like 4 scenes, so he's funny, but he's not in it enough. And then Dan Aykroyd, who is very funny. This is not a generational thing. I understand that Dan Aykroyd is an incredible comedic talent, but I don't know what his character is. It's like not evil enough or not nice enough. He's somehow this innocent bystander in this Midwestern auto parts ruse that Rob Lowe and Bo Derek are trying to pull off. And the only thing about Mel Kiper that I understand, or I'm sorry, not Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
This is why, because Dan Aykroyd looks like Mel Kiper in the movie. Mel Kiper, the NFL draft analyst.
Yeah, I was going to say you had the reference who Mel Kiper is. He does actually look like Mel Kiper in the movie.
Oh, Rob Lowe isn't it?
Yeah. Thanks for catching up, Kenzie.
I'm sorry, I just don't remember that he's not listed.
That's interesting. I was trying to find out the movie that he was doing that he thought was going to be a bigger movie than Tommy Boy. Maybe it was as far as box office. But, okay, Dan Aykroyd is a tough businessman. He's not really the villain. Rob Lowe and Bo Derek are the villains. He's kind of a villain.
He's kind of a villain, but he's kind of not.
But he's kind of not. He just kind of tried to get and at the end he goes like, "Oh, you got one over on me, son."
It doesn't make any sense.
But why does that matter?
But it would make more sense if Dan Aykroyd was like, if he was the husband of Bo Derek and the father of Rob Lowe, and it was a long con to win.
You're focusing on the wrong thing.
But no, because I'm not. Because here's the thing. This movie is funny as it is. Farley and Spade together are absolutely hilarious. I love Spade. I actually think Spade historically is underrated. He kills me every time I see him. But the problem is they don't have enough people to bounce off of in this movie. So when they're in scenes with people that are other than Farley and Spade, they just don't have it.
There are, but that's the thing. You've got the two of the funniest guys at that moment of the time of the performance. They didn't need someone to, and there was guys like the cops in the B scene. They're funny. Yeah, it's funny enough. They can't steal that scene from Chris Farley. There's no way they can. Bees! Bees! Oh my God, run, save yourself. How could they steal that scene from him? Bob, allergic to bees. That's a funny line.
But think about, and I'll reference a movie here, a movie that I actually have seen. Think about how deep the Austin Powers casts are. Rob Lowe, of course, in the second Austin Powers. Like, it doesn't matter.
Was
he? Yes.
Kenzie, Google that while we're talking here, please.
Why does his face just not stand out to me in anything?
And he's beautiful, by the way, too. Yeah. He's very beautiful.
It doesn't like snap. I don't know. It's not clicking.
I want to get to a text before we move on.
Yeah.
Case you're stupid. It's a comedy, all caps. You're not supposed to watch the movie with a, quote, critical eye. You're supposed to smoke a blunt and just enjoy.
You, sir, don't know me at all.
He doesn't, but he is right. He's correct. And you don't smoke weed. I understand. You could have done something like get some nachos. I don't know what you would have done.
Rob Lowe was working on the movie The Outsiders when he was doing Tommy Boy.
That's not true. The Outsiders came.
Yeah, that was in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what somebody said.
No, they're wrong. They're wrong.
Was Rob Lowe on The Outsiders?
Rob Lowe was in The Outsiders. My point here is that Look, the movie's funny. I'm not questioning that, but the movie could have been funnier. The cast is so weak. It's almost like watching that, like one of those LeBron teams where it's just LeBron and nobody else on the team, like the '07 Cavs, where he's got to pass the ball to Drew Gooden to make a shot every once in a while. It's like, can we get some guys around Farley and Spade that are actually funny?
But
also?
they were so elevated funny that no one could have held up. But I argue the dad is funny. I argue,
but he's in 2 scenes. When Bo Derek gets out of the pool, he goes, "That one's for me," which is like, all right, settle down, Chief. And then he has the heart attack at his wedding.
His line when he gives him the cooler and he goes like, and Tommy Boy lists off all the things. I could put some nice cold beverages, lemonade. He goes like, you can put anything you want to keep cold, son. That's a great line.
I have to say, also the long con. This wasn't the initial long con. The death was unexpected. She was probably gonna divorce him and take half.
But that's worse because that's a longer con.
Not really.
No, they're lucky that he died at that wedding.
Yeah, but they are not the brightest people. They're not going to pull off a Bitcoin crypto thing. They're going to go do this.
Also, people marry people for money all the time. I don't know why this is such an abstract thought.
But isn't it weird to go to Sandusky, Ohio, and be like, I'm gonna steal all the money from the brake pads guy?
But that's probably not. They probably didn't they probably met him and were like, oh, he has a lot of money. Okay, let me just make him fall in love. Like, I don't think she hunted him down specifically.
Yeah, but that's what it seems like. I never get to the point of how are Bo Derek and Rob Lowe in the what's the character's name? Yeah, why are they in their lives? They never get that explanation.
It probably was a conference in Vegas. He met her, and she's hot.
Tinder.
Yeah, well, and they also have no competition in Sandusky, Ohio, to score on someone.
No kidding. I'm a Chicago 4, but a Sandusky 10.
I mean, somebody taking advantage of somebody for their money. You're acting like this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I fine, whatever.
We can argue for days about this.
I'll digress to the point that, look, the movie is at its absolute best when it's Farley and Spade together, and no scene made me laugh harder than their first sales pitch where Chris Farley is playing with all the cars on the table. And I had never seen this movie. I knew nothing about it. This is the funniest scene of the movie. Funnier than Fat Guy in a Little Coat. Funnier than the peanut M&Ms in the car. This is the best scene of the movie.
Yeah, the
What I'm trying to say is that our new brake pads are really cool. You're not even going to believe it. Like, let's say you're driving along the road with your family, and you're driving along, la-li-la, and then all of a sudden there's a truck tire in the middle of the road, and you hit the brakes. Whoa, that was close. Now let's see what happens when you're driving with the other guy's brake pads. You're driving along, and all of a sudden the kids are yelling from the back seat, I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. Not now, damn it. Truck tire. I can't stop. Help! There's a cliff. And your family's screaming, oh my God, we're burning alive! No, I can't feel my legs! Here comes a meat wagon! And the medic gets out and says, oh my God. New guy's in the corner puking his guts out. All because you want to save a couple extra pennies. And to me, it doesn't.
Get out. Now.
That alone, you were laughing your ass off. That alone was worth it. That should be a 10 out of 10 right there.
It's a shame the rest of the movie doesn't make any sense.
Unbelievable. I can't even take your rating right now, so when we come back, we'll give you the rating of what he gives Tommy Boy, and it better be good, because people are actually, especially in Buffalo Grove, they're getting in their cars and they're heading down here.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Well, Case just had his movie review, 8 o'clock. We do it every Friday of a movie he hasn't seen because he hasn't seen many big movies. Now he has after a year. And Tommy Boy, the 30th anniversary was today. Released, of course, and not a huge box office and some critical reviews, but over time, of course, it became a legendary status movie, a cult movie, if you will. Case gave a review that's got a lot of people angry right now because he focused too much on the storyline and these sub-characters rather than just saying Chris Farley and David Spade were the funniest duo in movie history together in the movie. Now, what do you got on the text line for you, Case? Do you see something, a remark that you want to read?
Oh, I mean, I've got 700 texts here saying this is what's wrong with my generation. I don't know if I need to pick between those.
I will read this one. Brad checked in from Naperville and said, Case, watch Platoon. It's hilarious.
Oh, my God.
Is that a funny movie?
Yes.
Yeah, watch. Maybe that's next week, Platoon.
You'll love it.
At Almost Home Tavern, I'm going to watch Platoon. I don't know what it is. Is it funny?
We can't do Platoon at Almost Home. No,
Okay.
we're not. We'll save it for another time.
Okay, because it's the 30th anniversary.
Funnier time.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
What were you planning on doing at Almost Home next week?
It's the 30th anniversary of Bad Boys. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. I know nothing about that other than it's the 30th anniversary. We'll do that next week. But I like comedies. I'll add Platoon to the list.
Okay. Now, Kenzie, you have a text you want to read?
Yeah, no, Edward texted in and said, I have a question about Casey's movie reviews. First off, how dare you?
All right, well, go ahead and listen, from your review, I imagine something not great is coming as a out of 10 brake pads, I guess you're doing. Is that what you're doing? Or
I'll
what?
do out of brake pads. That's funny. It's good. But, during the break, I was looking at real quick just all the comedies that I've reviewed over the last year between, Groundhog Day and Pretty Woman and something like Breakfast Club. And, I watched Naked Gun last year when O.J. Simpson passed away to, note the complicated legacy of O.J. Simpson. All those movies in one way or another are better than this because they actually have a plot to them, or at least in the sense of Naked Gun, the whole cast is just outstanding. They're just stronger movies all the way around. Again, I have never once said, nor will I ever say, that Chris Farley is not funny. The man's hilarious, rest in peace, an absolute icon. David Spade, historically underrated. It's just the rest of this movie does not hold their weight. It does not make sense. The plot it makes the comedy hit less than it should.
The plot's fine, but go ahead and give us your rating.
5 brake pads out of 10.
5?
5 brake pads out of 10.
5?
It's going to be fat guys in little coats.
No, fat guys in little coats would have also been funny, but no, we're going to do 5 brake pads out of 10. A movie that peaks very high, a few hilarious scenes, cow tipping. Again, I referenced the peanut M&Ms in the car. Of course, the audio we just played of their first sales pitch, but this is not a movie that I would deem as an essential comedy by any means.
Tommy Boy, and I could be wrong because the duo's been together a few times. Isn't that when David Spade opens the door and Chris Farley goes, "What'd you do?"
Yes.
The car door breaks
Yes.
off? That is my favorite.
Richard, what'd you do?
What'd you do? And he just lightly.
Every line, every scene, A-level comedy.
My favorite.
Is there a mark here, Richard? Not here, but right here.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No chuckle there, Case.
Not a chuckle, not a tee-hee.
850 just texted in, Case sucks.
I know. No argument for me, sir.
All right, another movie review next week, 8 o'clock. Brian and Kenzie, Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.